Well, hey guys, how is everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are back on the 026 Pro that was dressed up in the MS260 plastic. By now maybe you've seen a little short I made. Compared to some of my other short clips, it looks like a handful of you watched it, so maybe you'll know what I'm talking about, maybe not. But I brought it in here, it just never did run right. I took it out and cut wood with it a handful of times. It was okay, it had stockish power, if that makes sense. Maybe a little better. It would pull a 24 in hickory, but it was just nothing at all to write home about, nothing impressive at all. I ended up going down to 20 on it, and take note, this is a 48cc chainsaw running big 3/8 chain, not low pro, not 325s, running big full house 3/8 chain on it. It was pulling it, just nothing to write home about. It was like, well, this thing it's just not running right at all. Like, I've got other 45, 50cc saws that would just eat it for lunch, but thought maybe it just needed a ring seat, kept running it, nothing ever happened, never picked up compression, so here we are. I brought it in there, checked compression, and it was like maybe 140, so maybe the most it ever would have pumped up to you might have been 150. With the machine work and the numbers that was in it, it should have started out north of 175 and, you know, seated in somewhere around 200, but or in my experience, but this one was just never going to do it. The cylinder originally had some pitting at the very top of the cylinder, and well, maybe that done it, maybe not, I don't know, but we pulled that cylinder off and we've got cylinder number 2. It's not a whole lot better. I do have one more cylinder, but I don't really want to use it. This one has some, I don't know, it's kind of weird pitting, like when whoever had torn this cylinder off of a saw, maybe it was seized. So that's kind of what it's looking like, but I've already cleaned it all up, blended it in. I think it'll be okay. There's nothing safe from the roof of the exhaust port to the squish band, which I've already machined. This thing was horrible. It was nasty. More carbon in it than I've seen in a cylinder, I think. So that was yesterday afternoon, but hopefully we can make it work. We're going to run the same piston, probably the same set of rings. I'll probably scuff those rings up. I've already honed this, like I said, cleaned up. I don't know, it's weird. It was like a ring of pitting. There was a little bit of transfer, but I'm going to say it cleaned up 90%. But anyway, that's what we're going to get into here. I'm going to get set up. See how this one times out. Like I said, I do have another cylinder. It has the least little bit of transfer right below the exhaust port. Other than that, it is immaculate. So I'm thinking I might time them both out. So this one's going to need the base cut more than likely. All I've done is cleaned it up and cut the band. Mainly I started cutting the band to get all the dang carbon off of it, and was like, well, I'm here, may as well go for it. And it is cut on the same taper as the piston, which is a dome, so hopefully at the end of the day this works out and has a good thump to it. Alright guys, sometimes on these cylinders, there's so many different cylinders these saws could have came with, like from an 020 base AV 024 through the 024 lineup to a super, which would have had that cylinder or one similar, all the way through the MS260. Same chassis, believe it or not, but a lot of variances between the models, the cylinders, the pistons. It's just kind of nuts, really. And this thing's, what I was getting at is, in most cases, to pull the base gasket, you have to machine the squish band on these older cylinders, and that's a 31 thou electrical solder. And as you can see, I took quite a bit out of that band last night. and we're squishing it pretty good. I'm willing to bet that, and I took very little off of that base to clean it up. Very, very little, just like a few thou. We've got that 31 thou electrical solder mashed in. We may even have to take more out of the squish band. But I don't have my calipers out. Let me grab those guys and we'll be right back. Okay guys, so let's check that one more time. Getting dead on 21 thou. You'd think I've done enough of these to know exactly what to cut out. And I've done a lot of 026s. A lot of them. A lot of the cases you can get with that dome piston if it's the right cylinder. And I've got this cylinder and then two others, and all three are different. I've got one with a decomp. This one, which never was meant to have a decomp. I've got another that has the provision for the decomp, but the decomp's not there. There's two 024 cylinders over here in the box. One's for the 32mm stroked saw. The other is not. It's for the 30mm, and we're getting 21 thou again. That's awesome. Yeah, you would think I'd done enough of these to know exactly what to cut out of the band. Alright, so numbers on this, squish 21 thou, exhaust port right on 100. I may put that other cylinder on and see where it's timing, I may not. Transfers crack open at 124, and they do have a staggers out to like 128. That's typical. And 70 on the intake, so good enough numbers to work with on typically on a saw this size. I'd rather see a much lower exhaust. See, this cylinder has the provision where a man could drill it out for a decomp if he wanted to, I guess. This one does not. I'm going to check this one out, see where the timing's at. Alright, so this cylinder, more than likely with the area for where a decomp could be off of a later saw. Probably a regular 026 when they made the 026 Pro. Let's see how it times out. Okay, so this cylinder, all I checked was the exhaust roof, was all I wanted to check. Is 97, which is about where I thought it was going to be with all the carbon in the roof of the cylinder. So with the carbon cleaned, probably looking at 96, which is pretty common for the cylinders with the decomp or for the place. With the decomp already. The funny thing is, the squish band and chamber are identical between all three cylinders. This is the cylinder we're going to use. You can see it has a pretty small chamber, and the wide part of the band is, which I've got the taper cut into it to match our domed piston. So port work turned out pretty good and real nice. To get the floor on that as flat as possible. You about have to go back over everything with a flat file to do that. Or some people might be able to freehand it, but I usually end up the flat file. But all in all, it all laid in pretty good. We'll just have to see how she performs. With that said, final numbers on this. It shouldn't take a few minutes just to put it back together because the muffler mod's done, and I don't know how many of these things I've done, way too many over the years, but I don't know if that's good or bad, but 21 on the squish. We ended up to dead even on 100 on the exhaust, which for one of these is good. We usually time mid-90s somewhere just right out of the gate. 120 all across on the uppers, they're flat 120 instead of the stagger, and 80 on the intake. It's kind of stretching everything out, but I've done it before, I know it'll work. It'll be a little on the spicy side, but you'll still be able to work with it good. It'll still have good start and idle characteristics, but thought about slipping some fingers in it, but that cylinder's so small I was afraid of screwing it up, so we just went a little hot on the numbers instead. But anyway, guys, alright guys, so this one should do good. There's no oil in the cylinder or anything. As you can see, I don't even have the saw together, so that's touching 180. So once this thing started and ran and got a tank or two on it, it should set in real nice. This one should pull really well. Did do something different. I have a ton of 325 stuff for these saws. Dug around, put a 325 8-pin on it, which is about the same size as a 3/8/7. Ain't much difference in it. So yeah, we're going to do that. I've got a Samira 20-inch here somewhere, and I think a brand new loop of chains. So yeah. Alright guys, so this is honestly the second heat cycle. Alrighty guys, I'm going to call that a win. I really like that setup. Next time we go to cut wood at all, this saw will come with me, and that'll be the real test. But I don't think we're going to have an issue. That thing starts super easy. It tuned in easy, which it's like a new saw. It's completely rebuilt. I was a little skeptical about the pitting and the plating on that cylinder, but where it was at and how it was, common sense kind of told me it wasn't going to affect compression or anything. But what it'll do as far as longevity of the cylinder, I have no idea. But time will tell. We'll work this into the rotation. That'll be the real test. Get it in the woods and see how it performs. But again, 8-pin 20-inch 325, over 12 inches of good sound wide oak, not slowing down any at all, chugging right through it. Come out of the cut that one time right on the 4 strokes. So she's a little rich, but teamed out nice. Saw turned out nice. Anyway guys, thank y'all for watching, those of you that followed this, and everybody have a good one.